Welcome, City Light South. My name's Eric Knoll, and this is Dakota Kilzer and Nick Sherrill, and we are members of the advisory team here at City Light South. And we had a meeting Sunday night, and we all left with a heavy heart. You know, the coronavirus is affecting everyone's lives, and it's sure affecting our church. And so we wanted to just share with you our heart and come and share some scripture, why we're thinking what we're thinking. And I know that the financial stability of our church is so important. And we left that meeting knowing that monthly we need about $25,000 a month to operate. And we're bringing in $10,000 last month. And that's critical. Those are lives being affected. That means Jesus isn't being proclaimed. It's something that's just in each one of our hearts to be able to be alive for Jesus and ministering through our church. And we can't do that without the finances to operate. And so we just wanted to share our heart. And so I'm going to turn it over to Dakota so that he can share a little bit about his heart.
Thanks, Eric. I just want to share with you guys kind of what's been burdening me as I left the meeting on Sunday night. I came home that evening to my wife. It was pretty late in the first place. And we just had a long conversation and some prayer to the Lord, asking one specific thing for our church. We wanted our church to respond so differently than the world to coronavirus. As we all are addressing job situations and how we're going to make budget and all that sort of stuff, I want us to look at a beautiful story we see in the Bible. In 2 Corinthians chapter 8, Paul's talking about the Macedonians, and they're a very, very impoverished people. Some people would describe them as almost being beggars on the street. That's how little money that they actually had. But Paul talks about their generosity in the midst of severe affliction. It says that they responded with an abundance of joy, and they were overflowing with generosity. And they are giving their money to another body of believers in their church, despite not having much on their own. And the beauty out of all of this is they're not just giving for the sake of giving, but there's a motive that 2 Corinthians outlines. And it says that Jesus Christ, who left heaven and became poor by dying on the cross, and because he became poor, we can become rich. We have everlasting life in Jesus Christ because he became poor. And that was the motivation that pushed the Macedonians. And my hope, my desire, my prayer for our church is that as we move forward into coronavirus, whether it's 1 week or 10 months or however long it goes on, that we can respond differently with our bank accounts. We can respond differently with our homes, opening them up to people in our church as they deal with struggles and difficulties, and that we can just be planting seeds. The world's idols are crumbling right now. Money, 401k, houses, hobbies, all of that's gone right now. And they need to know that there's a true cornerstone hope in Jesus Christ. So that's kind of what's been burdening my heart as we address this. And Nick, I just want to hear kind of what you've been processing through, what you've been thinking about and praying.
Yeah, thanks, Dakota. So honestly, I've been heartbroken ever since leaving the meeting and hearing kind of where we're at. I think it's a difficult spot to know that our church can't make budget and to ask people who are also struggling and saying, how can you guys make budget and help us to make our budget? I think it's a really tough thing that everyone's working through as people are losing jobs, as people are spending their vacation when they're not on vacation. And I think it's a really difficult place to be for several people. What came to my heart was Philippians 4. The classic verse of be anxious for nothing, but in prayer and supplication, bring your requests to God, which is a good reminder of how we should be coming to God with our anxieties, with our issues, and know that he'll be there for us. But what's interesting is right following that, the next section is called God's provision. And it talks about how after bringing your prayers to God, he provides according to his power and his glory. Has nothing to do with our circumstances, has nothing to do with what we're doing or what we can do. It's all according to his power. So if we're finding our security in him, if we're finding our security in that solid rock, then we can bring our cares to him and we don't need to be anxious for anything. If we care about our bank accounts, if we care about how my kids are going to get into third grade if I'm the one teaching them, it's going to be a situation. But if our cares and our trust is in him alone, we'll be able to power through, and he'll be able to show up in incredible ways. So I think finding our security in that kind of brings us into an interesting way to respond. So I don't know, Eric, what do you think? How does that bring us into a response?
Yeah, I love that. I had a mentor years and years ago that really encouraged me in difficult, challenging times to look at what Jesus actually said. What did he say to us? And so I went into Matthew 6 and was looking at some verses that just really stuck out to me. One was, do not lay up for yourselves treasures upon earth, where moth and rust destroy, and where thieves break in and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where moth and rust do not destroy, and where thieves cannot break in or steal. And then he says, for where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. And that really impacted me as I've been watching people kind of hoarding things and going to the grocery store. Why am I doing what I'm doing? And is my heart focused on Jesus? And I was really challenged by that for me personally. And then after that, I think it's really interesting. Then Jesus gets into this issue of anxiety that we all face. And this is a very difficult situation where we're all anxious about the future. What does it look like and how can I operate? But I love Matthew 6:33. It's at the end of this chapter where he says, but seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added to you. So Tish and I have decided that we want to go through this season of anxiety and difficulty being more generous, looking for ways that we can give more of our time and our talents, the blessings that we have, to be able to honor Jesus through our finances, our wealth, and our time. And that is something that we're just really excited and really want to be an example for, because our church is in need, and we need support for each other. We talk about that we're a family to belong to, and so we need to operate that way. And one good way we can do that is just focus on Jesus and know that he can handle this. He can handle this situation. He can take care of our needs, and he can take care of the church's needs. We're not coming to you saying, oh no, it can't be handled, because we know God can handle it. So we want you to know that we love you and care for you, that we're praying for our church and the members of it, and our heart is with you in this difficult and challenging time.